Hey, everybody, and welcome to a conversation on why we cannot wait for the upcoming CBP Connects San Diego, happening December 10th to 12th. CBP Connects San Diego is our first West Coast workshop, and I couldn't be more excited to visit. It's also my first time going to San Diego. Cannot wait. Over the past few years, we've brought our event, which focuses equally on networking as it does education, all across the East Coast and Midwest. And it's really exciting to be coming to the West Coast for the first time. CBP Connects San Diego features 14 educational sessions, 3 nightly receptions. We're going to be at AleSmith, Pure Project, and the North Park, a trade show, plenty of coffee, daily lunches, and more. I recommend grabbing your spot now at cbpconnects.com and joining other industry decision makers from across the country for a not to miss experience. But today, I'm joined by several of our peers who will be joining us out in San Diego. So let's meet them. And Jeremy, you're to the right of me. You get to tell everybody a little bit about yourself first.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, Andrew. It does sound like a great event. I'm really excited for it. As you said, since I've been kind of aware of CBP, most of your events have been on the East Coast. So I'm really excited to get people out to California, which is where I live. Real quick on my business, I focus on helping breweries use data in decision making. A lot of that is using data visualization and dashboards, really connecting to any area that a brewery has data. So excited to talk a little bit about that topic as we get into this, do the presentations in a month.
And we're definitely going to learn more about what you'll be presenting on shortly. So thanks again for, I would say coming out, but you're not traveling too far. How many miles for you to get there?
Little plane flight, not too bad though.
Awesome. We'll be seeing you soon in San Diego. Now, Kristen, you're up.
Yeah, I guess I'm excited. I always just like to learn what's newest in the trends, what people are doing. I think San Diego has a great beer scene, so it's great to learn from a place that just is able to sustain so many breweries, and just kind of, the unique things that SoCal's doing versus me and NorCal. So kind of stay with the trends because I feel like sometimes NorCal is just a step behind SoCal. So try to stay up to date. We'll see.
So speaking of trends, you work for a really unique business. Can you tell us more about Touchstone?
Yeah, so Touchstone Climbing is our parent company. So we've been around for, I don't know, 40, 50 years or so now, as an indoor rock climbing gym company. And we throw a lot of parties at the gyms, and they would always buy beer. But they made friends with one of the brewers at a brewery that they were buying beer from. They had this harebrained idea to brew their own beer. And so Touchstone Brewing became a thing. And so now we have our own brewery. We're right next to one of our gyms in Sacramento. And it's great. We have our own kitchen, our own brewery. We're just kind of freestanding. So you don't have to be a member of the gym, but we are there to support the gyms as well. So it's pretty cool.
Sounds like a super neat experience, Kristen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Heather, we have met before, but for everyone who hasn't met you before, you wear a couple different hats. Tell us about what you do in the industry.
Yeah, so I'm in Maine. I own Outland Farm Brewery up here. So that's how we connected when you were out here in Portland, which was awesome. So I'm super excited to get the invitation to go out to San Diego. And in the meantime, when we met between these CBPs, I had been kind of looking for a brewery adjacent job at the same time. And I now work for Veterinarians Without Borders. So we are an international nonprofit dedicated to One Health wellness of animals, community well-being. Kind of seems a lot like, what does that have to do with beer? But I'm the community events manager, and I get to do these really, really awesome fundraisers that are just really engaging and unique for breweries that we partner with. And I could go into a lot of it, but I think maybe people should have to come see me in San Diego to hear what this is really all about. So
I think everybody's going to love having those conversations with you in San Diego. No, Heather, I'm super curious. I remember when I first roped you into one of these preview panels as we actually geared up for the CBP Connects Portland event. Now you're coming all the way across the country to come to another. I'd love to hear how your expectations for the CBP Connects Portland compared to what you actually experienced.
I mean, I obviously went in, it was local, it was drivable, it was easy to connect. So my expectations, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I was like, hey, let's take a little trip to Portland. Let's see what this is all about. And I think within the first 20 minutes, I was just so amazed and blown away by the way the conference is, the connections I made. I now have connections that I made in 3 days that I don't know how I would have made this in depth of connections with other industry people who are going through the same things we're going through, our scale, our problems. I don't know how you can put so many people in a room together that have so much in common. When I've been to so many other brewing conferences. So when, the next one came up, we're flying all the way across the country to go to this one. So if you're hesitant, it's worth it.
I remember, after we met, because we first met virtually, then we met actually at the event, but I drove my family actually to your brewery where we hung out a little bit more. And I remember you saying, I think we're going to come to San Diego. And I'm so glad you two actually are.
Yeah, no, we're really excited to come out there. So definitely haven't been to San Diego either. So
we're going to get some pro tips from San Diego ideas in just a little bit. But Kristen, I want to talk to you a little bit because I'm super glad you're here. You actually won a registration to our upcoming event simply by RSVPing to one of our recent virtual events, Panel of Fest in the summertime. So everybody, when you see those RSVP links, you can actually win. And I'm so pumped, Kristen, you're going to be joining us in San Diego. But it's actually, an 8-hour journey from you from Sacramento. Is that correct?
Yeah, by car, yeah.
You're gonna drive it?
I'm gonna fly.
I'll be flying as well. We'll probably get there about the same time. But like when you're coming to an event like this, I mean, I can tell just by, getting to know you for 5 minutes today, you really value education, it sounds like. What are you most looking forward to when it comes to CBP Connects San Diego?
What am I most looking forward to? I guess mostly talking to people and seeing what they're doing at their breweries. That's always a huge thing. I'm big on like doing unique events, just to bring in new people, the same people, not the same old trivia, all that stuff. So that's, I guess, what I'm most excited to see. And then I love all the seeing all the trends that everybody at the discussions that people talk about.
Okay, what's a trend you're doing now at Touchstone or some event you've done recently that you're really proud of? Besides being a rock climbing and brewing sport, that's pretty unique.
Yeah, we do a lot of pretty interesting events. We did a buy nothing event for back to school. So we just had people donate things and we just laid everything out and had an infant table or a children's table or ages. And so that was really cool where people could just come and hang out. It brought in a whole different group of people. And then for Halloween, we did pumpkin carving. So we bought a bunch of pumpkins and people could just carve away. So that was another unique one we did. But we always like to keep it fresh and different. So those two were the last two that were really fun.
You mentioned a point that I say a lot too. Like if we keep just talking to other brewery owners and taproom managers like ourselves, we just keep repeating trivia over and over again. And it's so important to, connect with people like ourselves in different areas all across the country. So I'm really looking forward to San Diego because there's going to be people there. The last one in Portland, people from 30 different states. So you're going to get to talk to a lot of people like yourself and really get those perspectives that you're looking for. Because you might get that one idea, like, you know what, that could work really well at Touchstone.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes you'll have an idea and you'll be chatting with somebody and then they give you kind of a different idea, a different perspective than you had in the first place. And so that's always really nice to hear.
And when we get all these crazy ideas, Jeremy, we like to base a lot of what we do on data, correct? And you're a big data person. You're going to be speaking at this one. Talk to a high level of how we can use data to make better decisions in the current landscape of beer right now. Then I love a preview of what you're going to be presenting on at the event.
Yep. Excuse me. I'd be happy to. So Drew Kearns and myself will be partnering up on this presentation. And it's going to be related to data and how brewery teams can really dive into both their financial data and then cascade that down to kind of deploy it to the right people at the right time to be able to build a whole team and a whole culture of profit champions, basically. So some of the pain points we see today is at a really high level of a brewery. A lot of times the owner and kind of that executive level, they might have a pretty good idea of what their profitability is and how it's trended over time. But a lot of times they don't know what to do with that data really to drive their performance. Either the data is too late, sometimes they don't trust it. They don't know how to give that feedback to the right people at the right time. So that's really what we're looking to do in our presentation. It's going to be, we're not going to PowerPoint people to death. It's going to be as interactive as we can make it. We're going to tell a lot of stories of what we've seen that goes well in this space and where breweries have struggled before. Ideally, we're looking to get some feedback from some of the attendees also of where they've seen this be successful or not. And really the whole idea is to send people home with a lot of great ideas of how to develop their whole team to be engaged in trying to make the whole brewery more profitable. And then we're also going to send people home with a few templates they can use. So I know sometimes people get overwhelmed when they start to think about this topic, especially people that aren't real data savvy or analytical in nature. So we're going to try to make it as easy as possible. You'll get some knowledge, and then we'll send you home with some things where you guys can start to implement this, hopefully that very next Monday when you're back in the brewery.
Jeremy, I feel like we've known each other for a really long time now because everything you're saying resonates so much with me. But I'm pumped to actually hang out with you face to face in San Diego because you hit on two things that are really the goals we have for CBP Connects. You know, first off, we don't want it to be just you're looking at slides like you're in college all over again for an hour. We want to make it not necessarily super interactive, but an added component to it that makes it more memorable and helps things click a little bit better. But then just like you said, it's not just watching an hour-long session and, okay, well, that was neat. Now what? It's what can I do to take back to my brewery to see greater success? And I love that you're going to leave everybody with actionable strategies.
Yep, cool. We're really excited for it too. Drew and I have been thinking about what we're going to be talking through, and I think it's going to be a really great session.
I can't wait. Now, Heather, when you came to the Portland event, I don't know how aware you are of how interactive it was going to be. And, you know, we dove in pretty hard with an icebreaker to get everybody kind of breaking the ice just a little bit to meet people from across the country. Like, what are your thoughts on, you know, the type of content you experienced, how interactive they were, and how they were different from other events that you'd been to in your careers?
I find a lot of times, you know, that same idea of, you know, it's just like college. You sit there and you're just kind of bored to death through slides. It's really hard to connect that way. You know, we are brewery owners. We're, like you said, this is all decision makers. We're active people. We're not the type of people who can just sit down and look at slides and connect from that. So just the innovative way that everyone approaches it different. You have panels, you have single people speaking, you have interactive, you know, it shakes up the whole day, the education. I do remember the first thing, you know, you did to us was we were all sitting with our friends, and I don't even remember how you shook it up. I think it was something to do with macaroni and cheese, or crackers. But then suddenly I was at a table of strangers, and one of those strangers I met, now I'm working on a project with next month. So it just, you know, was so different. And I feel like I retained the information better and the connections better just with how it was.
I mean, it's so important building those connections, but I promise there's a moral to the story when we have these icebreakers, but it truly does set the tone for the interactive nature. And like, when you left Maine, or you didn't leave Maine, when you left the workshop in Portland, I should say, is there anything that really stuck with you took back to your brewery that you needed to focus on, you know, upon getting back?
Honestly, it invigorated me and I was inspired. I've been talking with a few of the people who I met there in the past month. And it's just, you know, even listening to Kristen talk about some of these events she does, just kind of the things that we don't think about that other people are doing. It's so inspiring what other breweries are doing, you know, when you kind of just, you get in your own rut. And I came out of there just inspired. And I was like, you know, I'm up against a lot with my brewery this year and the move. And I felt like there's people behind me now that, you know, if they can do it, I can do it. So.
Absolutely. Now, you came last time as a brewery owner, and you're also coming as a brewery owner this time, but you're also wearing your Vets Without Borders hat. So looking at the trade show component, you know, when we all go to larger conferences, trade shows historically can be a little overwhelming, a little intimidating, you know, hundreds upon hundreds booths sometimes. For our trade show, there's only 20 booths, and you walk through a maze of trade show before you get to a bunch of round tables. Everything takes place in one 5,000 square foot room. You know, how did the trade show differ for you last time compared to other events? Like, what did you like about it? Especially because now you're going to be in that trade show this go around.
Yes. Yeah. So, in a lot of the bigger conferences, I always kind of look at the trade show like it's a little gauntlet. Like you have to walk through there and everybody's trying to, you know, get your business card, get you to work with them. And it just feels, you know, you kind of ease your way through there and try to avoid things. And there is none of that in this trade show. You know, during the icebreakers, the vendors are a part of it.
They better be a part of it. That's their warning right now.
They're interactive in, the sessions as well. And they become just as much your peers as the other brewery owners. And there's none of that pressure. It's not I'm here to sell you this. I'm here to sell you this. It's, I'm just here to help you work through a problem you may have. And having some of these vendors presenting about, what it is that they're a specialist in, it makes it so much more approachable. I find I avoid trade shows, and not this one. I'm happy to hang out and have a beer and chat about, with all the vendors. So it's just a different mentality.
No, I'm excited to have you experience that side of it in San Diego. Now, Kristen and Jeremy, you both have mentioned to me before that you've been to the California Brewers conferences before. Based off your experiences for going to other events, because we've seen that people who go to CBP Connects, maybe they've been to a state conference before, maybe they've been to a CBC, but in some instances, this might be their first industry event. What are the tips you two have for preparing for an event like this? Take it however you wish.
You can go first, Kristen.
I always try to talk with my team beforehand, especially if there's multiple of us going to something like this. Like for this one, it'll just be me, but we kind of like look at the schedule, talk about like who wants to go to which meeting if there's like multiple at the same time. Like CBC is just insane, where it's nice where instead of like showing up at the same one, you're like, oh crap, well I kind of wanted to go to that one. You should go to that one. I'll go to this one. Take notes. Let's share it after. I think that's a great way to prepare if you've got multiple people going. If not, I like to kind of reflect on, I guess, what I'm trying to get out of it, and then look through the schedule beforehand. Just be super prepared on where things are and what's happening at what time. I guess that's probably the best way that I can be prepared, so that way I'm not stressed out about my next talk or whatever while I'm in one.
We're going to make it really easy for you. Everything happens in one room at the hotel you're probably staying at. So if you can
exactly, that's what it sounds like.
You're going to be okay. And we're also really excited to roll out a brand new CBP Connects app. That's going to be like your literally one-stop shop for everything. So you'll get the reminder if you're taking a quick nap to come back downstairs in 5 minutes. You'll get the reminders about happy hour. We really aim to make it super easy for everybody who's attending.
Yeah. Perfect. So much better than one of the ones I went to. I don't even remember which one it was, but by the time it ended, I still didn't know how to get from floor 2A to 3B. I was like so lost the whole time.
And just like, when you talk to taproom guests, I think you can never put out enough information. So really, hopefully we have enough to make it clear for everybody like you. Mm-hmm. Now, Jeremy, tips.
Yeah, I was just thinking through some of the bigger ones I've been to. Sometimes it can be a little overwhelming and kind of intimidating, especially for somebody like me who I'm a one-man business, so I'm not traveling with like a team of people I know. So I always try to make sure that I'm trying to put myself out there, meeting people I wouldn't otherwise meet, try to shake hands, say hi, share a beer, see what people are up to, try to know them on kind of a personal level and not just a business level, like me trying to sell something to them. It feels like this is going to be like a great size of a great group of people where it's big enough where you get some variety of different people in different parts of the country and doing different things in their brewery, but not so big that like you're sitting in the keynote with 1,000 people and it's just overwhelming and you kind of lose some of that intimate connection. So I think this is really going to fill some of that sweet spot.
And how else are you going to prepare personally? Is there anything you're planning to bring with you or any goals that you have personally, Jeremy?
Bring with me? No, nothing specific that I can think of right now.
It's always fun when we have these calls. You never know where people are going to take the question. Some people go on tangents about make sure you bring a really big water bottle, bring a notebook, bring business cards, comfortable shoes, all the basic things, but sometimes you do forget about because you can't hydrate enough during a CBP Connects or any beer industry event for that matter.
Or bring a big pint glass, I guess.
I feel like a notebook's really important to bring, and I like to split my paper in half, and so then I write notes about the talks or the event on the left side, and then as I think of things that I want to do back at the brewery, my right side's just a to-do list at the brewery because I'm not there and there's always stuff to do. So that way when I'm like getting back after 3 days or 3 or 4 days being gone, I'm not like, shoot, what was that I thought about in that first keynote meeting, where I have it written down all right there. I think that's been really helpful. So that way I'm not feeling super scattered when I get back.
I love getting in the weeds in notebooks for a second, Kristen. So like when you bring your notebook, how big is the notebook you bring? Because on my desk, I typically have like a little pocket-sized notebook, but I think I might need something a little bit bigger to do what you're going to do. Like,
I usually bring kind of a smaller one. But there's usually like a bag that they give you or whatever. So as long as it fits in a bag and it doesn't hurt your shoulder after all day of carrying it around, like bring whatever size you want. But I have like I have a regular size notebook that's actually hard backed, so I can write anywhere. So I love this thing, but I'm running out of pages and I don't know if they still make it. So
once you have that favorite notebook, you don't want to give it up.
Yeah. Like I try not to use it. Like that defeats the purpose, but yeah.
Heather, are you going to be bringing a notebook?
I bring my laptop. I set myself up Google Docs for the sessions already ahead of time, and I put my notes into there so I can edit them and everything. I'm very type A.
Nice and organized. So how else are you going to prepare? What do you recommend for people coming?
I'm preparing right now by trying to find a surf lesson, because I surfed on the East Coast this year and I want to surf on the West Coast this year. I know nothing about San Diego, and our San Diego expert, we don't have any here right now. So somebody's going to have to let me know where I can go surfing. Probably cold, so I probably need a wetsuit. So that's what I'm currently researching.
Was surfing this year on the East Coast your first time surfing, or are you fairly experienced?
It's my second time over here. So first time was after a hurricane, and I got hurt a little. The second time was nice, calm day, and I feel a little more confident. So kind of checking off those bucket list things. So
I'm sure we can get you some good recommendations there. Yes. So if like for everyone else though, who might not be going surfing, what else do they need to do to get ready for the event?
The app. I want to learn the app. Is the app out?
I'll send you the link following this. It'll be in the show notes for anyone to download as well.
That's what I want to, the same thing as Kristen talking about, looking at the schedule and being prepared and having all your notes ready. I want my eyes on that app.
Yeah, our friends at Tapwise put together a really nice app for us. So we're pumped to roll it out. So link coming shortly to everybody. Now, Heather, you and I have not been to San Diego. Jeremy and Kristen have. Kristen, you've been fairly recently. It sounds like you like to take the trip there. So give us some pro tips, places you enjoy visiting in San Diego, anything you recommend.
Balboa Park is amazing. It's just this huge park in San Diego. There's a ton of stuff to do. There's a couple museums. There's one of the Pure projects is right on the other side, like on the west side, I think, of Balboa Park. So if you wanted to hit a brewery, that's a great place to go. I guess the biggest thing for preparing for San Diego is it is pretty big. Like, don't underestimate how far away everything is, especially during high traffic areas, because it will take a while to get to some places. I think that's a good way to prepare, but you can go anywhere in San Diego. Like if you want to go to like White Labs, kind of far away or whatever, you just have to prepare for that like 20-minute Uber or drive. But I guess Balboa Park is probably my biggest recommendation, and then just hit up the breweries, like, of course.
We're going to be the second night. We're going to be at the Pure Project North Park location, which I'm not sure if that's the one right by Balboa Park, but it's a mile away, so it's not.
Okay, yeah, must be the other one. Yeah. Pure Project is great. I think I went to both locations when I was there last. It was such a cool spot.
Hey, we're super excited to be there. Now, Jeremy, it's been a little bit longer since you've been to San Diego, but anything you remember that you really enjoyed?
Nothing that I would recommend for people to do last time I was there, but I'm really looking forward to, that's the home of California craft breweries for sure. I've got about probably 100 to choose from. So it's going to be cool to not only, be involved in the event, but then hopefully we'll be able to get out a little bit, both at the nightly receptions and then just as people have some other time to enjoy the city and see what a lot of kind of the new innovative breweries are doing down there. So really excited to be able to see and spend some time with them.
Yeah, there's not ever going to be enough time in San Diego. I plan my trip as long as I can. I'm trying to hit up as many breweries as I can. So if anybody listening has any must-dos for us while we're in San Diego or knows a place we can go surfing, please drop it in the comments. We are very interested. Heather, I don't know if I'm going to have time to go surfing, but hopefully we can get one good recommendation for you to get you a hookup somewhere.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. So
how many extra days are you tacking on to the trip? Or are you just going to get up like 4 a.m. one morning and go surfing before the conference?
I think I'm Sunday to Saturday. So I tacked on some extra days, you know, for us to just explore. So
I love that. I mean, that's the thing with these events. With CBP Connects, you have to be intentional. And I love learning on the internet, and we can learn so much, but there's something special about making the more meaningful connections, having those conversations, spending, 2.25 days with people just like you never met before, but now you're reaching out to them when you have a question or you have someone you need to, work on a project with. That's the special thing about this. And I can't wait to see everybody this December 10th, 11th, and 12th in San Diego. You can go to cbpconnects.com to grab your spot now. But Jeremy, Kristen, and Heather, it's been fun hanging out today, but I can't wait to see you in San Diego. So see you soon, everybody.
See you soon.
Thanks, Andrew.